A Match Made in Heaven, a collection of inspirational love stories compiled by Susan Wales and Ann Platts. Today's reading is called Noah's Ark. It's a wonderful love story called Noah's Ark, and it has a quote, "Mid pleasures and palaces though we may roam, be it ever so humble, there's no place like home." When my husband Dan and I built our dream house, we planned to live there for a lifetime. We imagined growing old, sitting in our rocking chairs on our sun porch to watch the grandchildren play in the garden. All our hopes and dreams for the future ended when Dan suffered a heart attack and died. I was devastated, and no matter how hard I tried, I was unable to adjust to widowhood. My dear friends offered their love and support, but as the time passed, my grief remained as strong as ever. One day, a close friend, Eliza, stopped to encourage me. "Joanne, it's time for you to live again," she said. I nodded, as I had so many times before, until she added, "I think you should begin dating." I was stunned and replied, "You must be joking." I was hoping this would be the end of that silly dating nonsense, until another friend called to invite me to her Christmas party. "I've asked my friend Tal Dryman to escort you." I was pleasantly surprised when Tal and I enjoyed one another's company at my friend's party. When he asked me to dinner the next week, I promptly said yes. He took me to a lovely restaurant, but afterward the dancing was too much for me. The next morning I was so traumatized by my return to the dating scene that I packed my car and my cat Rita and fled to South Georgia to the safety of my parents' house. I probably would have hidden out there forever if I hadn't had bills to pay, gardens to weed, and plants to water. When I walked into my house, the phone was ringing, and it was Tal Dryman asking me where I'd been. I accepted another date with him, and then another, and a year later, Tal and I realized we had fallen in love. When Tal proposed, we knew we had some difficult decisions to make. Just like Noah's Ark, we had two of everything. We decided it was more practical for me to move into Tal's larger home. My friend Ann, an interior designer, helped us combine our belongings. As she worked on each room, she kept saying, "Your things fit together perfectly. It was meant to be." We all agreed the house looked beautiful. In all the excitement of our wedding, I had not seriously considered the consequences of selling my dream home. After we returned from our honeymoon, the realization that I would never see my grandchildren play in my garden suddenly hit me, and I was devastated. Several weeks later, Tal suggested, "Maybe we were too hasty having you move into my house. Would you prefer that I sell my house?" I was deeply touched by his kind offer, but I knew it wasn't practical to live in my smaller home. And I loved his home blended with our things. So the next morning, I made the dreaded call to the real estate agent. Later that night, Tal's son called. Tal seemed to be involved in a serious conversation, so I left him alone. When Tal walked into our bedroom, he had a big smile on his face and said, "Guess what, darling? My son wants to buy your home." "Sold," I said, as I gave my husband, the greatest salesman in the world, a smile and a big kiss. Today, Tal's son and daughter-in-law host our blended family gatherings at my former home. Tal and I often sit on that sun porch, drinking lemonade and happily watching our grandchildren play in the gardens of hope I planted years ago. And that story came from Joanne Dryman. It's called Noah's Ark. Love stories, matches made in heaven.